If you want to get mad at like individual right-wingers, get mad at people like this. Charlie Kirk on the deadly Texas flooding. The death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI.
The Democrats, they're so despicable.
In Texas, dude? Really? DEI in Texas? Are you saying Governor Greg Abbott is in a wheelchair? Is he doing the thing? He's like, Governor Greg Abbott is handicapped. We shouldn't have had him as governor. We need a governor who can dive into the water and swim and extract people himself, personally.
The Democrats are not lifting a finger to remember the well over 100 people that have died in Texas Hill Country. What you are not being told by the media anywhere is that the death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI. This Texas tragedy is just the latest example. It's not just incompetence.
Yeah, DEI, divert extreme investment. Divert extreme investment to Israel. That's what the I stands for. It stands for both investment and Israel. That's what it is. That's what he's talking about. We have never had more stupid people in the White House than we do now.
As a federal government.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lordy, Lordy. Oh, my God.
This is DEI working to undermine meritocratic institutions and...
Brother, this is Texas. Wait, Texas is also doing DEI? What's he talking about? Did he think that this was California? What does he mean when he says DEI? Is he talking about divert environmental investment? DEI, divert everything to Israel? Is there something going on in Texas that I was oblivious to? That is Texas also doing DEI now? What? It's a red state. Texas is so woke, they had a whole country full of Mexicans settle next door. I know. Some of them, when we drew the lines, remained in Texas, as a matter of fact. Hella Mexicans there. Teleprompter got the wrong script. Yeah, I'll have you know, there are Mexicans in Texas, dude.
More people likely died than otherwise would have because of DEI.
This kind of commentary also is a direct consequence of people getting dumber and dumber year over year, where like he doesn't even need to make an argument. Have you noticed that there is no argument being made here? There is no correlation. There's not even a correlation. You can't even say like correlation does not mean causation. At least back in the day, they used to point to something. They used to like point to a correlation falsely. They would do false equivalencies. They would do like silly ways of implementing logical fallacies to make a somewhat of a convincing argument. Now, it's just catchphrases, man. This is DEI. DEI is the reason why this is as bad as it is. And also because wokes. Yeah. Woke DEI in the state of Texas. Yeah, this is why Ben fell off. This is precisely why Ben Shapiro fell off. Because at least he was like trying to make a clear argument as to, like he was trying to at least like create some talking points that made sense to those in the margins. But nowadays, with increased political polarization and a lack of interest, a severe lack of interest in identifying issues and solving them, all you need to do is hit a button. It's like DEI. You could substitute reaching. No, I don't think that's a reach. I don't think that's a reach at all. Especially because like this is something that a professional political commentator would avoid. When I say something is a problem born out of capitalism, for example, or even if Charlie were to say like something is an issue with like socialization or something, like diverting funds away to like woke transgender surgeries instead of like I'm doing a better job of making a convincing right-wing argument here. If I was a Republican commentator, I'd be like, well, Texas actually had to reorient its expenditure priorities as a direct consequence of the federal government under the Biden administration to make sure that transgenders were getting bottom surgeries in immigrant detention centers at the federal facilities. Like, at least I'm lying, but I'm lying in a direction that kind of makes sense. On the other hand, Charlie just goes, nah, Texas is a DEI state, man. Like, what the what do you mean Texas is a DEI state? I thought people voted for honest to God meritocracy in Texas. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between like trying to tie together lies that make at least some kind of sense versus just saying a talking point. At least like talking points that Republicans used to use back in the day were like somewhat associated with the issue at hand. Now, they're not even associated with the issue at hand. What the hell? And then when we're working through the details of like where the spending priorities were, motherfuckers come in here and go, that's for MSNBC. It's fake news. Okay, man. I bet you love MSNBC, you goddamn libtard. Like, no, I don't. As a matter of fact, I'm not exactly fond of MSDNC either. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not playing team sports. I don't care. I care about issues, and I care about solving problems rather than assuming that one team is going to solve a made-up problem that I now believe is a real problem. And here we have another absolute moron, Kirsty Noem.
Government don't manage these disasters. The state does. We come in and support them. And that's exactly what we did here in this situation. FEMA went to an enhanced level immediately. But as soon as you signed the major disaster declaration, we were able to get them resources and dollars right away, just like you envisioned through state block grants.
In 2005, people were warned Hurricane Rita caused massive evacuations out of Houston and surrounding areas. Traffic congestion caused massive delays in evacuations. 107 fatalities were directly linked to the evacuation alone. After that, the city-state finally put in contraflow lanes to easily let traffic use both sides of a highway to evacuate. Disaster has to happen first for steps to be taken to fix it. And in 2005, people were warned, and just like today, they pretended it didn't matter. They had decades to be prepared for that as well. It's not like we are oblivious. It's not like we don't have scientists that are actively ringing the alarm bells with regular frequency. We do. We have these things. We've had these things for decades. People have been screaming about this exact moment for like 30 years. And every step of the way, we've gone, lol, that's just weather, stupid. That's just weather. You're so stupid. It's just weather. I was having this discussion about Don't Look Up with some friends of mine that were obviously annoyed with the smug tone that it took. Shouts out to Adam McKay. Love him. Friend of the show. HasanAbi head, Adam McKay. I didn't take issue with Don't Look Up. The reason why I didn't take issue with the bluntness of it, because it had no subtlety whatsoever, or even the smugness of it all, was because I think we're getting stupider and stupider. We're getting dumber and dumber every day. So I think that will stand alone as a brilliant work one day when people go back and rewatch it and go, well, this is exactly what is taking place.
And we're still there in presence, and FEMA's been deployed, and we're cutting through the paperwork of the old FEMA, streamlining it much like your vision of how FEMA should operate, and it's been a much better response to help these families get through this terrible situation. We still are looking for people. We
saw a version of this in COVID as well, where like dudes were literally in their last breath decrying that COVID was fake. It's like, brother, you are dying. You're dead. You're dead. In a couple hours, you will die. And you are choosing to spend your last hours on earth with a ventilator shoved down your throat, talking about some culture war shit. What the You're dead. You're dying. Maybe I'm woke, so forgive me for being woke and lame and a libtard. But I don't care how much it costs to save people's lives. I don't care. I don't care what it takes. I would much rather spend the money on proper prevention. I would much rather spend the money on harm mitigation. That is what the government is supposed to do. What the is crazy out here is actually because you rich boy. What the do you mean? We're talking about the government. What do you mean? Because you rich boy. Okay, I pay more to the government than you do. And I'm saying use the funds adequately.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi getting harshly criticized in what is known as the MAGA world after the Justice Department released a memo saying that the accused sex trafficker died by suicide in jail while awaiting trial, and that there is no so-called client list of notable figures.
What is this? California officials are failing to protect girls on the playing field and in the locker room. The Department of Justice has filed suit. Going into the replies and seeing the big bad rig is not working on the right wingers is honestly amazing. Oh my God, they tried to do it. They tried to do the trans thing. This is either an insane lack of self-awareness on display here, or they enjoy gaslighting us. Officials are failing to protect girls. Yeah. Oh Oh, they're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Nice try. Why haven't you released the files? Someone said you were Florida's Attorney General from 2011 2019, question mark. And that's when the Epstein flight logs were public. Victims were coming forward with lawsuits. Evidence was in abundance. And you did nothing. You didn't do one thing. No probes, no investigation from you. Florida, wow. But here's your chance to do the right thing, but you won't because you need to protect Trump. You aren't about protecting females at all, stupid bitch. How about you protect them from the Epstein client list? Oh my God. Oh my God. They are trying it. They're trying to do the, hey guys, I know the Epstein client list is a big deal for a lot of y'all, but have you considered trans people?
Several weeks, the Department of Education has notified the Department of Education in California, as well as the California Interscholastic Federation, that they were in violation of Title IX. They were allowing men to compete in women's sports. Now, this is after years of their being in violation of Title IX. We informed them that if they did not change, that we were going to refer these cases to the Department of Justice, and we have done exactly that.
Thank you, Secretary McMahon, for all of your hard work. And today, the Department of Justice has filed a lawsuit against California Department of Education and the governing body for women's sports in California. We've made it very clear, only women in women's sports under Title IX. An example in California,
did you guys ban him? You don't need to ban this guy. It's fine.
He would have lost every race.
He said God is not real.
In women's sports, he won over 36 medals. Those medals should be returned to—
Oh my God. This is again. Oh, finally, the trans deflection method is failing. Bringing this back to my, personal experience, it's like watching the Hasan parachute cord being ripped so hard that it doesn't work anymore. This is precisely what's going on here. They're doing the trans people parachute cord, and people are not even remotely interested. Gunther Eagleman, shut up and resign. Sick and tired of you blatantly lying to the American people. They finally found something they're angry about than trans people being happy. I love that. I told you, we finally found something. And I said this would be it. I said this would be more impactful than even not ending the wars. There are some who maybe fantasize about Trump being more aggressive against Israel. You know what I mean? In the base. There were some who may have voted for him that are not immediately in the base, but voted for him nonetheless because they truly thought that he would be a peaceful dove. You can still continue duping those people, but this is a real schism. It's the dumbest thing to potentially have a schism over, but it's one that is obviously impactful for these people. So instead of getting them to go, instead of, making fun of them and being like, oh, you guys thought he was going to release this stuff, even though we all knew he wasn't going to release this stuff, we should welcome these people and help them radicalize in the direction of the truth, because there are a lot of people who feel upset. W Trump. W Israel. W Trump. Hell yeah, brother, you're right. Weird time to say W Trump and W Israel while we're talking about the Trump administration refusing to release the Epstein client list, but considering we know that at least Ehud Barak was directly involved, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak was involved with the Epstein. He was an Epstein affiliate. This chat is like W file rape, bro. W. Thanks, chatter. Trisha Hope, national delegate for Texas, who is a January 6th activist, says, I have been to 42 Trump rallies. Oh my God, that's crazy. That's a crazy number. After the first impeachment, I drove to D.C. and spent 2 weeks walking the halls of Congress to encourage Republicans to support President Trump. I sat in the hearings and I supported President Trump. I was there the night he was acquitted. After the 2020 election was stolen, I went to see 2,000 mules. I was livid at the lack of action. Oh, God. That's embarrassing. That's so embarrassing to admit that you got duped by a Dinesh D'Souza production. God damn, dude. Have some self-respect. At least lie and be like, I wouldn't mention that if I were you, you know? I was livid at the lack of action. I contacted Dinesh D'Souza and told them I wanted to deliver copies to Republican members of Congress. They donated 200 copes. I went with a team of 4 to D.C. and personally hand-delivered each one. When it became clear that J6 was a setup, I started helping J6ers. I met with members of Congress on their behalf. I was able to get a donation of 435 American Gulag Chronicle books to deliver to Congress. She's like a trot in her her effective praxis is just doing pamphlets. This is basically the American Trotsky. I would like to write many pamphlets. I wrote many pamphlets about the American Gulag. Myself and a team organized by Trumpertarian delivered 535 copies to every single member of the House and Senate. I worked for the last 3.5 years to help free the J6ers. I organized Trump events, became a state delegate, and then a national delegate. I recently made a donation to the Smithsonian in honor of the J6ers. I say all of this to tell you I am done. President Trump's lack of concern for the Epstein victims and his callous response to the reporter's question ends my relationship with him. I will not support a man who denies justice to the victims, who in this case are children, and mocks the question. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Controversial opinion time. But maybe these people are so stupid that they literally do think trans people are doing pedophilia. Because I always used to think like, oh, they just cynically say that, like in an effort to just be transphobic. And it is transphobic to operate under the assumption that like queer people are doing pedophilia. But I guess these guys like they are honest about their interest in combating pedophilia. They say it so much, they start believing it. No, I think a lot of people I just assumed were just cynically saying that to smear trans people. Now I realize they're just incredibly stupid and incredibly hateful, and therefore they actually believe those lies. And that is part of the reason why they hate trans people. But yeah, Evan Lowesworth says they finally found something they're angry about than trans people being happy. Yeah, that makes me happy that there is like something that they genuinely care about. That is cool.